Hello everybody, welcome back to the Juneau-Douglas City Museum. I'm Niko Sanguinetti, I'm the Curator of Collections and Exhibits here at the City Museum, and today we are coming to you from one of our collection storage areas. This week is Alaska Museums Week and today is Technical Tuesday. So today we wanted to give you a little bit more behind the scenes information about how a curator maintains their collections when it's not on display to the public. As most of you probably know, the majority of museums are going to have a larger collection than what you would see in the gallery space. Regardless of where that gallery is, I tend to point up because we're here in the basement, so all of our gallery space is actually going to be right above me. So in this particular storage room that we have here, we have the majority of our framed art pieces as well as what we call our archival collection, which are paper-based artifacts as well as our photographs. And to maintain any museum collection, you're going to need a large amount of materials. And the basic premise behind anything that you're going to be using for museum collections is that whatever materials you use are not going to harm the object as it's stored in these materials over time. The goal of any museum is really to maintain and keep for posterity the objects in their collection for forever, really. Sometimes you can say for hundreds of years, but the real goal is to have that object in that museum collection for all of eternity. And obviously that's a bit difficult, but we do the best that we can with the materials we have. So what I have here in front of me are a few of the materials that we do use here at the City Museum. Mainly made from acid-free materials. You're going to see some of our storage boxes, larger boxes for larger objects. These are the containers we tend to use for archival collections. They're smaller, so that way there's less objects inside them, which means less pressure on the objects themselves. So if they are paper-based, they're going to be stacked vertically, so that way they're not crunching each other, and that way any imperfections or folds or tears are not going to get made worse. Inside these you're going to have acid-free paper folders, which I don't have an example here, but they're basically the same types of materials, and we use acid-free archival quality. That's the big buzzword, archival quality sleeves. So these aren't sleeves that you would just buy at your local Office Max. These are particularly purchased so that way they're meant to preserve paper documents and photographs for as long as possible. And inside this particular sleeve I have a piece of archival quality paper, which is again different than what you would put in your regular printer. This paper is meant to not react with anything that it's put in contact with, so it's really good for using on paper or next to paper artifacts as well as photographs when you're trying to save space. As you can probably see from our collection storage area, the City Museum here in Juneau is quite full. We're really lucky in that we have an absolutely amazing collection, but with that comes a lack of space. So sometimes you have to get a little bit creative with how to properly store your artifacts in a way that preserves them, keeps them safe, but also saves space. So one of the big things is some archival quality paper inside a archival quality sleeve, and you can put 2 photographs for the price of 1. We also have our number 1 tool, which is going to be our gloves. And as I've talked about in other videos, I tend to prefer nitrile gloves. I do feel like they have a little bit better protection. I have a little bit more grip versus cotton gloves, which are also used primarily by, those were the common gloves for a very long period of time. However, we've moved a little bit more towards nitrile, and I just feel like I'm a bit safer with objects when I'm using nitrile versus cotton, but that's definitely personal preference and comes down to the curator or collections manager. We also have some Tyvek, which is another material that is used to protect the objects from whatever they're coming in contact with. Ethafoam. Again, these are used for specialty mounts. Generally, you can carve this out. It is like styrofoam, but better, and it's not going to negatively harm objects that come into contact with it. However, it is a bit rough, so generally if you're using this material to make any kind of custom storage solutions for objects, if you carve out a piece to sit something inside of it, you want to definitely cover it with something. Generally, Tyvek is a good barrier for you there. We also have what's known as blue board. Ironically, my blue board is gray, or at least gray to me, and this is a material that is pretty much what this box here is made out of, but it comes in sheets, and you can actually make custom storage solutions by bending, folding, cutting, and creating specific mounts for objects that are kept in storage. And this again is archival quality, it's acid free, it's not going to be reacting to the materials that it's put onto. So these are kind of our main friends, and of course under all of this is our acid-free tissue paper, which we use for most things here around the City Museum. It is very durable, well, not durable, I apologize. It is very useful and comes in handy. It's a great barrier of protection, especially if you have something out for a short period of time that you're going to be working with or documenting or cataloging. So it's a good friend to me, and I like it a lot. So these are kind of some of your basic technology that you'd be using to store objects. And we're actually going to move into our larger storage area to take a look at some of these materials in action. Here we are in our general collection storage area, and this is the main area where we have the majority of our collection stored in. We're lucky enough to have moving shelves, so that way we can really store as much as we possibly can into this small space. Like I said before, as a small museum, we really are working within the parameters that we are given. We are in a listed building, so there's only so much we can do. It's historic. It is the old library, so we are working with some preset rooms that we have then had to adjust a little bit. Now when there's nobody in this room, all the lights are off, doors are closed, and the climate is controlled to the best of our ability. One of the main things with museum objects is that you're wanting to keep them away from light, and then in a environment that is going to reduce any chances of their corrosion or further deterioration, really to the best of our abilities. And so you'll notice along these shelves we have different objects in different states of storage solution. So you'll notice some of the boxes, again all of that's our archival quality cardboard that is non-acidic and is meant to not react to interaction with objects. Some of which are out and are really just protected from other objects by space and by other materials, such as our friendly little mouse trap here with our mouse in it. And again, it really comes down to the specific objects and the specific collections, but the main goal is you're wanting to have these objects be as protected as possible. You'll notice that some of the objects are in boxes and they are covered, just extra protection against light and the environment. We tend to monitor all pest infiltration and try and prevent it as much as possible, and we're very lucky here at the City Museum. We've had a pretty good track record of making sure that all pests stay out of our museum. And so pretty much everything here is in some state of storage solution, which basically means that it's been put away in a way that the hope is to prevent as much damage as possible, whether that be from light, from handling, from interaction with other objects, and then from just time in general. So there's obviously more technologies that we can talk about. We've only got a short video here for you, but we appreciate you coming with us, and stay tuned for further videos. We're definitely going to be following some of the other themes for Alaska Museum Week, so stay tuned. We'll see you again soon.